Right.
So I'm just going to click on the COVID-19 support page down the left-hand side on the menu. And was it the compliance section you wanted to
Yeah,
talk
if you
about?
go into the compliance section, and then if you go right over to the right-hand side,
Yeah.
and scroll down where it's got important documents, you will see there that there's a couple of things. So there's one called the job retention scheme information leaflet. And that's really good because that's some of the information that Charles has just spoken about. That is where all that information is in there. It tells you all about the scheme. It tells you who would be eligible for the scheme. It tells you some of the process that you would need to go to when you want to apply for the scheme. And it gives that information that Charles mentioned about on directors. So that part is really, really good to have a read through, and that will just help probably clarify some of the points. There's a couple of letters in there as well, which our sort of head of employee engagement, Jenny, has prepared for you to use if you wish. Now, the first one, and it's in that lump there, is the announcement letter. So this is where you are informing your colleagues of the times that we're in, the sort of the process that we're going through, and that there might be a need to go down through this process. This is a template that you can use, or as Charles said, you can take to your accountants. You can amend it if you wish, but it's certainly a very good document for you to use to send out to your teams. You then ideally probably should sit down with everybody and have a consultation with them and talk through that in more detail. And then if you are going to go down that route with them, the second letter on there is where you would get their consent. So what we've tried to do is to provide you with the information on what the scheme is and a couple of letters that you can use with your team. So hopefully that's where you can find the information. Just remember, in this COVID-19 section, we've got everything in there that you can possibly need, and we update it as we go along, so that should be your first port of call. If you've got a question, if you've got a query, go there. If the information isn't in there, then by all means, drop me a message and we'll certainly help as much as we can. So that's great, Sophie, thank you very much. Can you see me? Because my screen is completely frozen and I can't see myself or anybody. So can you see me?
Yes, we can see you. If people can just comment in the comment section below just to confirm that you guys can all see Paul as well, that would be great.
I can't see myself, which is a benefit. So so that's quite good. So what I want to do, so that's about this sort of the job retention scheme. A couple of bits I just wanted to mention. I just wanted to go through a couple of posts I popped on Facebook over the weekend relating to some announcements that had came out on Saturday. The first one really related to information on landlords and tenants. I don't really think there's any surprises in there at all. The documents are in the members hub for you to have a look at. The only thing I think which might be helpful is a section in there regarding maintenance responsibilities of the landlord and of the agent. And it mentions that even through these times, there is still a requirement for landlords or their agents to maintain all legal responsibilities. But a lot of people have asked me, well, what do we do if either we can't get a gas safe engineer to go into the property because they're not prepared to work, or if the tenant does not want anyone to enter the property, either because they are self-isolating or whether they've got a vulnerable person in the property or any other reason. Now, the bit that really interests me in this report, it's under section 3.9, is the fact that it states that if the landlord or the agent can show they have taken all reasonable steps to comply with their duty under the regulation, then they are not in breach of the regulation. So I would take that if you get a tenant who's refusing access because of a specific coronavirus related issue, or you cannot get a gas safe engineer to go to the property because they are not wishing to go to visit, provided you retain evidence of that, then there is your due diligence. So my reading is, you've got that, that's part of your due diligence, and they're advising all local authorities to take a very pragmatic view for any enforcement action at all. So hopefully that will clarify that little piece up for you. The second document was really around the eviction process. Now, whether you go down a Section 8 route, a Section 21 route, or the Section 83 route, this guidance now provides absolute clarity on what can happen and what can't happen. And a couple of bits I just want to mention is, yes, make sure you're using the new Form 6A if you're going down the Section 21 route, and they're using the Form 3 if you're going down the Section 8 route. Now, where Sophie just shared that screen and showed you where those documents are, we've put the revised Section 6A and Section 3 notices both there for you. So make sure you're using those. You'll know they're the right ones because it clearly says that they're valid until the end of September. So no issue with serving a notice. So if there is a reason where you need to serve a notice on a tenant, then you can do. The only issue is that no eviction process can start through the courts. So the courts are now not accepting any new or existing cases to be reviewed. So if you have a Section 21 notice, for argument's sake, that is currently expired, and your landlord wants to take that tenant to court, at the moment, they will not be able to commence with any court proceedings whatsoever. And that is going to be in place probably till the sort of end of September time. So this is where the government have said nobody's going to be evicted from their homes as a result of coronavirus. So make sure you're using the right forms. Make sure all of your lettings teams know that you need to use the right forms. Just have a read of both of those documents, because providing you follow the guidance in there, then you've got no issues whatsoever. And both of these documents can form a really good part of communication with your landlords and your tenants if you get any question on any particular topic. One final point for me, I've had lots of questions about, is mandatory electrical testing going to happen on the 1st of July in England? This document makes it very clear that mandatory electrical testing in England will go ahead from the 1st of July. But I think we are in a very ever-changing regulatory framework, so anything is open to change. But as it stands at the moment, the guidance is, yes, that will be going ahead from the 1st of July. So I wouldn't worry too much about that just yet, because it's only for new tenancies on that date. I will keep you posted as and when there are any changes.